Not.
2 plane rides now and 2 giant slicks, the second significant patch of petroleum that Fox News has spotted in just the past 2 days alone. BP saying it's captured nearly 22,000 barrels of oil on Saturday, but all eyes right now are on Alex. That's a tropical storm. It may threaten, it may strengthen to a hurricane. Wow.
There's also a lot of questions about how deep this new slick that has been found goes. It has been called a plume. Rick Leventhal is fresh off that plane ride, and he joins us now across the Gulf, live in Houma, Louisiana. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Martha and Bill. We just got back from flying with some pilots and dispersant contract workers who've been hired by BP to work year-round in case of a spill. They're like firefighters that stand by, and when there's a fire, they go and they get it. And today we went up with a spotter plane to see some of this massive plume that was described to us yesterday, and what we found were, in fact, a number of smaller sheens of oil out there on the Gulf and some very significant streamers that are now, it appears, about a mile or less from Grand Isle, Louisiana. The streamers are the thick, brown, almost vein-like rows of oil that you'll see in the water surrounded by a lighter, perhaps rainbow-colored sheen. The streamers are the thickest stuff that apparently Grand Isle has been threatened by in several weeks. Now, these spotter planes go up to direct the larger dispersant planes as to where they can drop that chemical dispersant to try and break up some of these larger pools of oil out in the water. But there are a lot of restrictions. They can't drop that dispersant within 3 miles of shore or within 5 miles of the source. They also can't drop dispersant within 2 miles of any vessel. And as you may or may not hear heavy thunder overhead, there are issues with the weather, as you might imagine, as well. So when there's bad weather, they can't necessarily fly the dispersant planes or even the spotter planes to get a look at where the worst patches of oil are out there at sea. And right now there's some really bad weather out there. So we actually couldn't go to all of the areas that we had hoped to see this morning. And the dispersant plane, one of which is right behind me, they're not going up and flying right now either because the weather is simply too challenging for these pilots. But it's important to point out that they have flown sorties every day since day 2 of the oil spill. Normally, as I said, they might go out once a year. This year, they've gone out on 389 dispersant sorties alone since April 22nd. So these guys have been very busy. There is a lot of oil out there. What we saw from the sky, my first look from above, was disturbing to say the least, because there is a lot of oil out there. But remember, it's not the kind of oil that you might expect to see. It's not a massive black cloud. It's a lighter sheen in many places, and it is broken up. You're talking about an area of 5,000 to 10,000 square miles that they're covering. So what we're seeing are small patches, longer sheens, and fingers of oil out there in the Gulf.
Yeah, and it's tough to know how deep some of those plumes go from up above, but you're getting an extraordinary look at this, Rick. What did the pilots say about their concerns about the weather and whether or not they think that Alex may cause some real concerns in terms of this effort?
Yeah, Alex is less of a concern to them right now than the ongoing day-to-day operations. Again, thunderstorms threatening all this week. Heavy rains out there right now. The seas are a challenge for the skimmer ships as well. So they've got some issues that they're going to have to deal with for the next few days.
Boy, Rick, thank you for those pictures. Wish they were a better picture, but it's good to have them. Rick Leventhal, good to have you. Thanks,
all right.
Rick.
From the Gulf.